Welcome to OsteoStrong. First time I met Matt and I came in and he was asking my name. I said Kathleen Strong. He was writing. He looks up at me like, for real. I said, yeah. So anyway, I just remember that 4 years ago, maybe. So welcome everyone. And for people at home, thank you for tuning in. We hope that we're going to give you a really fun evening and you're going to leave energized. So you feel good about turning off your phone again, to just tune out this busy time. So thank you for coming in this busy time because it's dark and I just want to thank you for being here. Um, so I'm Kathleen and Paul and I have been doing this since 2011. Like the little write-up said, we've been all over and part of this is that you have a thumbprint that's uniquely yours. And I never knew this, but I have a breath pattern that was uniquely mine. I've now changed my breath pattern because my initial breath pattern that I ended up with that was showing up when I had an analysis done wasn't really serving me in a healthy way. But sometimes our breath pattern comes in even at birth. It can come in little traumas along our lifetime that we've all had, and we catch our breath, hold our breath, um, stop speaking. There's all these little things we do to survive. So the breath holds on to that. And so what we are doing tonight is helping you just to experience a very short session, like 7 to 10 minutes, to get familiar with your breath pattern. And then we brought a mat and a pillow. So in case someone wants to volunteer, I can do watch your breath and sort of tell you because how you breathe is how you live. And it's fascinating because I just didn't know that. And that's kind of the summary of how this is going to be. We'll have questions and stuff at the end also, because we usually do like at least an hour, sometimes an hour and a half for an evening event. And so we are curtailing it to give you a fast, brief version on this cold night. So thanks.
Yeah, so I'm Paul, and one of the things I love about Kathleen is her passion about all this. Because that's why we dedicated our lives to this. We were doing many other modalities first, but this is the most powerful, and it's something that is there for everyone and that they can use to make changes that they. And we have been blessed to be traveling around, to have given thousands and thousands of breath sessions and see people transform. I call it a miracle. It's, so the breath that we're going to teach you tonight there's lots of different uses for the breath. This one is specifically about letting go and surrendering and getting into a deep place of relaxation. So activating your parasympathetic nervous system. When you do that, there are things that can come up because you've been suppressing them, pushing them down. That's why this is all about being able to continue to breathe through that. And then it dissipates. And to live without that. It works at the physical level, works at the mental level, it works at the emotional. And since we've been doing it, we have lots of stories about it. And there's some, if you come to a weekend, we'll give you lots of science behind it too. But for this short thing, I'd like to give you just a couple of the typical experiences that we have. We have these thousands of stories about the physical level. I was telling someone that my son's a personal trainer. And so when I introduced him to this breath, he said, well, I'm not going to do anything unless I prove it, right? Mm-hmm. So he added 20 minutes of this breath before his workout and 20 minutes of his breath after his workout. And what he did was add 30% to his power. And when I talked to him a few months later, he said, I'm really focusing on the breath after the workout because you heal faster Therefore, you're better prepared for your next workout. So that's the kind of thing that can happen at the physical level. My favorite story, though, is we were teaching in Florida, and a woman came in with 80 years old with a walker and an oxygen tank to a breathing seminar. And this is where you do it for a week. So she's breathing 2 full breath sessions a day for a week. By the time she was done, she had put her walker aside, she'd let go of her oxygen tank, and she was dancing with us. She was so full of joy. And so a year later, she came to a couple of days of the seminar, and I sat next to her and I said, you know what? You're my favorite story to tell. And she said, well, you can tell them it's a year later and I still am not using my oxygen tank or my walker. And it's just, that's the kind of power that we'd like you to experience. At the emotional, mental level, what's coming to me is we were teaching in Kuwait. And so it was people from all over the Arab world. And one of them was a famous film director in that area. And when he came in, he was so full of anxiety. You know, the nature of his job, he was just full of anxiety and he was near depression. And so by the end of the week, he was just so full of joy that he came in that last day and he was so excited because his iPhone wouldn't recognize his face. That's how much he changed. So, but it's all because of the power of the breath, and that's why, you know, we talk about being facilitators or coaches because it's you, it's your breath, it's your breath pattern. And Kathleen said, is how you breathe is how you live. And also, if you change your breath, you'll change your life. So what we'd like you to do now is just experience this for 7 to 10 minutes. So this type of breath is very specific. There's 4 components to it. First of all is awareness. So you're going to focus on your breath. So your mind's going to come in with all sorts of things, but just let it go and just bring yourself back to being. Secondly, it's going to be a continuous breath. So most people have some kind of pause in between their inhale or their exhale. So what we're going to be having you do is it's going to be like a waterfall. It's just going to, the water's going to come up and it's going to fall. Up and it's going to fall and stop. So it's a continuous loop. Inhale leads to an exhale, and an exhale leads to an inhale. And we'll be coaching you through this later. I just want you to know the basics. Also, it's an open mouth. Why? There's lots of science that says that you should do breathing through your nose. So we encourage you to breathe through your nose all the time, except when you're doing this, because most people cannot get enough oxygen in through their nose and they've had years of practice. So if you have done that and you can bring in the volume of oxygen through your nose, please do that. But we're going to ask you to do open mouth to bring in just for this time period. And then lastly, important to relax. So that circle that I talked about, the effort is on the inhale. So this is the opposite of a lot of exercise. Exercise, you focus on the exhale as the energy, right? That's a good use of your breath. This is the opposite. So you effort on the inhale and then just relax on the exhale. Just let it go. That's the way the diaphragm works. That's the way diaphragm works. The effort's on the inhale, and then if you just let go, the diaphragm just goes right back up and releases the oxygen, carbon dioxide. So that's what we're going to ask you to do. Put on the inhale and then relax. Okay. So are you ready to try?
Just clarification.
Yeah.
So I do different kinds of breath work. And
Yeah.
so
There's lots.
is there any folks, like sometimes, you know, certain traditional say focus on your dantian, which is like below your navel. Others are talking about focusing.
By the way, can you be very careful to repeat any questions because with both of you using the mic?
Thank you for the reminder. So the question is are we going to focus on a particular area of the body? We are going to be focusing on the body. However, we're not going to focus on one area because we want to use the respiratory system fully.
Okay.
So at the peak, you're gonna be breathing from deep in your belly all the way up to your upper chest. Okay, so you're gonna be breathing in that whole space. Now, most people are only gonna be doing 25 to 30% of that when they start. Okay, but that's what we work towards, is fully using the respiratory system. Okay, and that's how we're gonna start. So what I'd like you to do is put your hand up here toward the throat or the high heart. Okay, and put your other hand on your deep belly. Okay, and now just close your eyes and relax and open your mouth and just start to breathe. Okay, just breathe naturally. Just let yourself breathe, and then we'll coach you through some changes. Kathleen will probably be coming around to take a look and see how you're breathing. All right, so first of all, just focus on your lower hand.
If you can push your hand out.
You can put on the inhale. Just on the inhale, focus on that lower hand. Breathing, and then inhale. And okay. Just let your jaw drop and as you can listen to it, just bring your awareness to your upper hand as well. So inhale on your lower hand and then all the way up to your upper hand. So just lengthen your inhale. Just relax. Just lengthen the exhale. In, go. Okay, and just keep up with that. We're gonna come around and we're gonna be checking a little bit. Okay, just stay with that breath. Just long inhale, relax. As soon as you relax, the inhale starts again. Continuous.
Relax your jaw.
Tension in your jaw. Sure. Sure.
Faster than I thought you would.
Like the rhythm of life. 8 hours of sleep and 16 hours of inhale is longer than because when you relax and let go, the exhale is just his hand. Right here. All your breath come here. And let go. Inhale. Let go. What the body needs, just let it happen. Just stay with 2 more minutes. Sensations are coming up. Just breathe right into the sensation. Just let it out. And to end the session, just take a nice big inhale. In your sigh if you. Ah. Well, just show of hands, how many people felt something? Realization with it? There you go. See? There you go.
Yawning is good.
Sense of relaxation. Yeah.
And I appreciate being able to have your mom, because they're always, classes are always having you breathe through your nose. And I mean, I flunked so many scuba diving courses because I could not breathe out. I just couldn't breathe out. And so this is wonderful to just breathe in and breathe out. I love it.
For a short period of time, it's good to bring in more oxygen.
Felt a little hypoventilation.
Now,
I feel it in my head.
now see, that's really interesting. So I'm working with you on relaxing the exhale. As long as you relax the exhale, you can't hyper. However, a lot of people think they are hyperventilating because you are now bringing more energy up to your brain. You're not used to that. So when you that sensation, sometimes I think, oh. But anyways, so I was working with you and just relaxing your exhale. Anything else? Was there some emotion?
Sometimes people have little tingles. Cramps. The body starts to say, what are you doing? I'm not used to that. So there's all sorts of things that are normal. And that's why we talked about awareness, to just go to that place and like allow it to talk to you. I was talking all the time. So they not know. So, you know. Some people get tetanus, get crampy hands. So lots of normal things, but just keep breathing through it. So in breathing for an hour, lots of amazing things can happen. So you had a little taste, and I was showing that with your mouthpiece, which is when people are breathing and their mouth just doesn't want to relax because we carry a lot of anger and tension and resentments in our jaw. Imagine that. Holding back words. So this is just a medical device that when people hear the rattle, they either go, oh, I forgot to keep it open, or we just help them because this just rests in your mouth. And we used to cut off the top of water bottles because it just helps you relax and just get the air in there, or you can 2 fingers is about how wide, but it can feel really strange, you know, because we're just so used to closing down. So these are some of the little tricks we have for a longer session.
So now we thought we'd show you a breath analysis, which is a more detailed look at someone's breath pattern. And also then Kathleen can talk about some of the things we would do in a full breath session. Anyone want to volunteer? All right.
I'm curious.
Thank you for volunteering for bringing everyone over. So if everyone else wants to bring their chairs up or can get close.
You can keep your shoes on.
Okay.
In an hour breath session, I would say please take your shoes off because I'll hold your feet at the end. But not now, because this is just a cookie.
Okay.
You know, it's when you have so much to say and you know you have to like not say everything. It's like, oh, you only knew. Okay, so, another, oh no. Maybe, can I just borrow your yoga mat to just have me on these? Oh,
Oh.
hello, hello, be happy, okay. You're welcome.
Want me to lay flat, my feet
You just lay flat,
flat.
and you're just gonna do the breathing that you were breathing out there. And we're all gonna watch you, so relax.
So relaxed.
But I'm just going to observe where her breath is and where it isn't. Okay, so you can just close your eyes. Yep, open your. So, can you see she's got a really nice belly breath here? And then it kind of goes, starts to fade, so her upper heart's fairly protected. Okay, and sometimes when we're down here, it's like we can get things done, but we kind of have some trust issues because, you know, when your heart gets wounded, he's laughing.
She's laughing.
And, you know, the thing is, when we do this with people, then we have different things, like I would prop her up to help with gravity. This is why we have back jacks and we turn them, you know, this, but yeah, we can prop her up. Because we have different ways to bring the breath where things aren't.
I remember just.
You can read back. Now, do you see already? When you can see, it helps a little bit to get the breath back up there. There's a surrender spot right in here, right where your ribs kind of, you can feel like in that crevice where the ribs start going, but there's like a little soft spot in there. And this is kind of like, I can't really surrender to really open my heart, you know? And so this is kind of that stopping point where there's lots. Are you a really helpful person?
A helpful person?
Yeah.
I mean, helping other people?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've always been a fixer.
Women.
Family house for it.
So this helps being in a family that you have a certain role and you can't really be you because you need love and acceptance and connection. And so sometimes it's better to survive situations than be exposed and vulnerable. So, see, I would also be helping her just to relax, but yeah. And just let it come out your mouth. Yeah. A lot of our control to keep this protected is out too. And sometimes we have people, if her breath wasn't down here, I'd have her bend her knees. But she's got this good, she's grounded in, I know where I'm going, and what I'm doing, I know what next. So
Me.
that's why she's here. But, and we have some different sounds that we use because vibration is huge. And so we use some, we call it toning, to make, and cry, when you cry, you can make sounds, but you're tight. And so toning is more of an, like an open sound to help, get energy moving into the places that we're protecting. So welcome, babe.
Thank you. Thank you. It's very interesting. Another bit of information for my. You were right.
I did this with a guy once, and I started telling him, and he goes, "Are you like a psychic or something?" And I said, "No, I'm just telling you what your breath is telling me."
Right.
But it doesn't lie. Bodies just don't
No,
lie.
they don't lie.
They don't lie. And so it's sort of befriending who you've always been. I call it like in the Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy's got the red slippers.
Yeah.
And she's going home. So you just get to come home to more of you. Yeah, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Now, I've been working out with a trainer, and so my hamstrings are killing me. And it's like to get up, I'm getting up like.
I'm saying for you. You were right, where you see it's rising more or not, and then lower, you can see everything from either.
So any final questions or curious about?
How do you work? I mean, do you do sessions? Do you do group things? Do you do retreats?
Yeah, we do private sessions. We have a room in our house that's dedicated. We do workshops at different venues. I was saying before, we haven't done a lot locally because we were traveling. But where we've done it locally is at the retreat center in Wayzata. We've done it at Mandalay Center, different community centers around. So,
Yoga studios are good.
Yeah.
so we won't have another one until late January. 2-hour workshop. And then we do weekends where you learn all of the things you need to do to be able to do a full 1-hour breath session yourself. Reason that, for people sitting out for a short session, if you lay down and you go in, and you do a longer session, you go into some stuff that gets through. People can have emotional things come up, memories come up, they can experience about other lives. Yeah, all sorts of things happen, and so we're there to coach them through it. But if you learn how to do that, then you can session for yourself, which is what we want. We want people to do this.
And how did all this come about?
How did all this come about? Repeat the question.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you. How did this all come about? It came about because we've done many other modalities, and one of the last ones we were doing was something called the presence process. Michael Brown and this woman, Judy Kravitz, wrote the foreword to his book. And part of presence process is breathing. And, so he recommended only Judy, somebody that you could go to do a full session. So she came to Sedona where we were living at the time. Went to her workshop and we just fell in love. This is so powerful. And we said, we're just gonna dedicate ourselves to this. So we became senior trainers, transformational growth.
That's why we got to go to China and France and Italy and
Turkey,
Canada.
and Kuwait, and
Yeah.
Jordan.
and everybody breathes all over the world,
Yeah.
you know? So it's really awesome because the breath is with you all the time. And it doesn't cost anything to learn how to, really utilize it.
Yeah, you learn at the core, everyone's the same.
Do you find that though in some of those cultures, they pick up on this a whole lot faster than we do? Because
Oh,
No,
no. It's pretty universal that, it's funny, someone said to me once that the way they got it is, how long do you live without food? 30 days, 40 days, but think of all the energy and science and teaching and everything we do around food. Right? Okay, how long do you live without water? Think of how much the energy and teaching and, pure water and everything that we put into water. How long do you live without breathing? And yet, how much do we teach?
Sounds like you just described a hierarchy of needs.
There you go. And so,
and it's kind of backwards, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
so just all over the world, there's not a lot of teaching about, especially letting go and rather than control.
And different cultures had different, like in China, there was just a lot of guilt and people would throw up. Just red stuff and,
It's a natural.
Italy. Yeah, Italy had that too, but. And the cultures have different
Yeah.
things that have been oppressing them, just like us over here. And so the breath, it comes out in how we're living, so. It speaks for itself. And, it's like now, like I just automatically wake up in the morning before I get out of bed and I'm just focused on starting here. It just takes a discipline at some level, to just decide. And I guess over the years, learning so much, because I had no breath where you had great breath. Because I wasn't in my body at all. And I was just all heart. And so, then I don't give a lot. I sort of floated through and you're kind of at the, risky behavior could be in there or just some, try that, or I'll try that, or, why not? You kind of go with the flow, but it's not healthy either. So, and I didn't even know that, so I'm back.
You had mentioned, I told the story about the woman with the oxygen.
Yeah.
Earlier. Have you found other parts of the body that heal in combination with this breath, like disease?
Yeah, there's lots.
You know what I'm getting at?
stories. Yeah,
Okay.
there's lots
It's
of.
very common to heal from.
Yeah, there's a woman who teaches respiratory therapy at the Mayo Clinic. She got involved with us, so we would do workshops down in Rochester. Sponsored by her. And so it was a lot of respiratory therapists. And they're like, why don't we learn this? They don't, so we would, we worked with a patient of theirs and had tremendous impact. And things.
Well,
Anyway, so-
I had the guy who came and he had this really bad stiff neck. And he was from the Mayo area and he did the breath session. And he came out of the session after the hour and he's like, I'm gonna have to go to the chiropractor, like my neck. It's like I can move my neck. So,
Yeah, he'd been in an accident a week before and he was coming with the other respiratory therapist and he's telling him he's gotta go see a chiropractor after this. But then he didn't have to because it had cleared just through the breath session.
and that's why when we're watching a body and working with the body, we call it body mapping. And each part of your body, we have certain places that if I'm feeling your body, you're using a muscle that you don't need to be using. You should just be using your diaphragm when you're breathing. And so when I'm feeling for tight muscles in different places, we also use affirmations, like it's safe to let go. It's safe to love. It's safe to love myself. It's safe to be a woman. And I had a woman look at me and she goes, I'm working on that. But I mean, we use affirmations as well with the body parts and the body points, to try to just get people to befriend the body, to just have it work in unison with itself. And so, beautiful thing.
That's the other thing we don't learn.
As another
Connecting
thing we
with our bodies.
don't,
Oh,
We learn to
learn
be out
is-
there,
yeah.
not in.
So this is a very inward journey. And it can be really scary for some people because they're used to, I'm okay. I'm fine. That's not the Minnesota one. I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you today? I'm fine. And yet, you're not, but we
I
say
always say I'm fine, fine as a texture, not
fine is a texture,
a feeling.
not a feeling. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So, it's just like an unfolding of yourself. And, there's no stopping, I'm still finding where I carry stuff, especially around the holidays. Is my favorite spots. Everybody has favorite spot, lower back, whatever, neck. So then I just have to go talk to it again and breathe into it again. So.
I have
Alex,
one question. It's a two-part question.
Yeah.
How familiar with Wim Hof's work and how much overlap is there, or any familiarity with like some difference between your practice and his?
sure. So Wim Hof, yes, very, very familiar with. And there is one of the primary similarity is it's a continuous breath. That's the primary connection. However, that's what I was talking about with there's many uses for the breath. Wim Hof falls into the category of using breath to create energy, to create an experience. Okay, so so there's a lot of control of the breath. with Wim. Same with yoga, same with Pilates, there's just so many uses of the breath in martial arts. Use of the breath, exercise, that's what I was saying, typically it's exhale on the effort.
For force production.
Yeah, and so that's powerful and that's cool and that's a great use of the breath. It's also good to have the opposite, which is the breath where you put effort on the inhale and totally let go and relax on the exhale, which is the opposite. Because that's what allows you to go into the deep parasympathetic nervous system and heal.
think of like a warrior breath. And even warriors need to relax.
Yeah, so kind of in summary, I think one of his primary uses is eating the body too, as well as a little bit of stress relief, but your practice is more about how do I do self-discovery through breath? Which is his is not quite like that.
Yeah, ours is about going into the relaxation part of the breath so that you can heal whatever needs to be healed. That's what when we do a breath session, we don't know because it's you, it's your breath, it's your body. And so it could be something emotional that comes up for you to heal. It could be something physical. Oh, yeah. So when we were learning hypnotherapy, the teacher of hypnotherapy, he allowed us to come and do a breath session for everybody. And he got up and he said, my jaw. He said, I had an accident with my jaw 35 years ago. I cannot fully open my jaw. And now I can fully open my jaw. So even somebody who's so deep into healing modalities, still there's something that the breath can bring. Your breath, your body, it can bring that. Can be physical, can be emotional, even can be spiritual. There's a lot of spiritual things in
We
it.
had a gentleman in Sedona and he had had a heart attack. No, a stroke.
No,
He had
yes,
stroke. He had the stroke. And he was breathing and his breath, he was making a lot of noises, just to keep the breath going. Like when you're riding a bike, you don't want to stop the bike. You don't want to stop the breath. You want the breath to keep going. This is your engine. This is what's going to get everything moving. That's why we say no pauses, just keep it going. And when he was done, he said, I am feeling muscles that I haven't felt in
6 years
6 years from the stroke.
since the stroke.
So he was overjoyed that he just got to feel things again, so you just never know. But the woman breathing next to him was really upset because he was making all this noise. And she had to breathe through that because that triggered her. And so everybody, there's something for everybody, do this.
Well, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.